Hello, my name is Seth Gumbs, and you are listening to an audio story presented by the kids of Mount Pleasant Library in CLIO Drama. The story is called Amber Stone City. But it doesn't start in Amber Stone City. It starts in a place called the Kingdom of Roses. In the Kingdom of Roses, there was a grand castle. It was made with marble. The courtyard was filled with the rarest of roses that lined the pathways in the colors of the rainbow. The walls of the castle were made from the strongest stone that had tiny crystals in it that sparkled in the moonlight. This grand castle even had a grand horse stable that was built with the finest wood from the forest of Manatar. But there were no horses in that stable. Oh, no. In that stable was the king's three-horned red dragon, one of the last dragons in all of the land. In this castle, surrounded by all of this beauty and splendor, lived the very grumpy and miserable King Ronald. Why was he grumpy, you ask? Because he knew that his castle wasn't the grandest of them all.
Thomas!
Yes, my lord.
How many taxes did we collect today?
Let me see here. We collect 20 gold coins from the farmers, 30 gold coins from the merchants, and...
How can I be the richest king in all the land when we only collected crumbs for taxes? Castletopia has a moat, 4 dragons, golden walls surrounding it.
I'm sure that you'll get that someday, sir.
But I want it now. I want you to triple the taxes everywhere and get ready for battle. We're gonna have to battle the Kingdom of Marble and collect their taxes too.
Right away, sir.
Arthur!
In walked one of the king's most trusted servants. Arthur was a wise old man with a long gray beard that covered most of his face and hung all the way down to his belly button. It swung from side to side whenever he walked. He wore a red cloak that was much more fancy than the brown cloaks that the regular servants wore.
Yes, my lord.
I'm sleepy and it's time to get me ready for bed.
Right away, my lord.
The king lifted his arms to either side, which allowed Arthur to take off the king's red robe. He then took off the blue necklace with beautiful jewels of different colors, just like the roses outside. He put that in the king's jewelry box and closed it shut. He then put the king into his favorite furry white robe that he loved to go to sleep in. After that, the king rolled into bed and Arthur tucked him in.
So which lullaby should I sing to you, my lord?
Just go ahead and sing me my favorite lullaby.
Rock-a-bye, my lord, on the treetop. You will have good dreams about you being rich.
It didn't take long for the king to fall into a deep sleep. Arthur took a close look at King Ronald just to make sure he was fully asleep. Suddenly, Arthur ripped off his beard and flung the fancy cloak off of him, revealing his black clothes that were as dark as the night.
Ooh, that beard was itchy. It feels good to have it off.
That wasn't Arthur at all. It was the most prolific thief in the entire kingdom, Geoffrey. You may think it would be hard to get right next to the king, but not for Jeffrey. All it took was a great disguise, a couple of bribes here, some sneaky moves there, and a little sleeping potion into the real Arthur's favorite tea. And here he is.
Now it's time to get that lovely piece of jewelry.
Jeffrey tiptoed over to the jewelry box and opened it. The jewels glistened in the moonlight, but all Jeffrey could see was the pile of gold coins he was promised when he gave this to the person who hired him, the King of Castletopia. Jeffrey slipped the necklace into one of his many pockets. Then he went to the window, placed his grappling hook on the inside of the window, and dropped the long rope outside of it that went all the way to the ground. Jeffrey put his disguise back on just in case he needed it. Then he tiptoed over to the window and climbed down the rope to the ground below. Jeffrey hid in the shadows. It snuck his way to the horse he had waiting for him, tied up to a wooden post. He cut the rope with a dagger and hopped on the horse. Then he quietly trotted towards the castle gates. When he reached the castle gate, the guard on the guard tower stopped him abruptly.
Halt! Who goes there? Why are you leaving the castle walls at this time of night?
It is Arthur, trusted servant of the king. I have an urgent quest that he has commanded of me.
Oh yes, Arthur, of course. I will open the gate for you.
The castle gate started to open. Suddenly, Jeffrey heard someone yelling from behind him. He turned around to see the real Arthur running as fast as his old legs could carry him, wearing only his undergarments and with his hands still tied together. Jeffrey looked at the guard, and the guard looked back at him with an evil stare.
Hot thief!
Uh-oh, time to go.
Before the guard could even start closing the gates again, Jeffrey and his horse bolted past the castle walls and out into the meadow that surrounded the castle. Arrows whizzed by his head. He looked back to see that some of the royal guards were chasing him on their horses too. That made him gallop even faster.
Hot thief!
Jeffrey saw that there was a forest to the north. He had to go there to lose them. When he got to the edge of the forest, he realized it was too thick for his horse to come in with him. So he hopped off the horse and ran into the forest. Jeffrey kept on running until he saw a stream. He ran along the stream until it turned to a rushing river. That rushing river turned into a waterfall. Jeffrey collapsed from exhaustion. He bent over the river's edge to take a sip of water. Then suddenly,
Hot thief!
an arrow came whizzing by him. He looked back to see the guards had found him and were getting another arrow ready. Jeffrey was trapped. He looked behind him to see the river's water rushing over the edge into the waterfall. There was only one way out of this situation. Jeffrey jumped into the river and then jumped over the waterfall. He hit the water with a violent splash. He tried his best to swim to the surface. When he made it above water, he looked up at the guards. They were too scared to jump down after him. Jeffrey laughed.
Ha ha! See you later!
Jeffrey ran into the forest and out of sight of the guards. He was exhausted, but didn't want to stop moving. He ripped off his fake beard and tossed his wet robe to the side. Jeffrey quickly looked in his pockets and found that the king's necklace was still safely there. He breathed a sigh of relief and continued to walk through the dark, mysterious forest. Jeffrey was busy trying to decide what direction he should go in when suddenly he stepped on something that clicked very loudly. He looked down to see a piece of rope quickly wrap around his leg and fling him up into the air, taking his feet from underneath him. As he turned upside down, he hit his head hard on the ground and lost consciousness. As he hung from the tree, swaying back and forth, a boy came out of his hiding place to investigate.
Come here, Abigail. Look what we caught.
No, Martin. Wild boars are dangerous.
This isn't a wild boar.
Abigail timidly walked out from her hiding place in the bushes. When she saw what she and her brother had caught, she gasped.
Oh no, that's an outsider. We never get outsiders this deep in the forest.
What is he doing here?
I think some blood dripped on me. He must be hurt. We have to help him.
Martin went to the tree and loosened the trap rope, lowering Jeffrey slowly to the ground. As soon as Jeffrey hit the ground, Martin went over to inspect it.
Oh no, he is bleeding. You have to use your amber beam to heal him.
We aren't supposed to show any outsiders that. It's supposed to be a secret.
You have to.
Abigail sighed. She had a golden necklace around her neck with a rose locket at the end. She opened the locket and out shined a beam of light. She pointed the beam of light at Jeffrey's head. Miraculously, the cut healed and the bleeding stopped.
Aw, I wish I could do that with my amberstone.
When Abigail was done, she closed her locket and the beam of light vanished.
Now that it's healed, let's get out of here.
Come on, Abigail. We aren't going to just leave him there. The forest is too dangerous at night. We'll take him home with us to make sure he's safe. Then he can find his way home in the morning. Don't worry, he's still knocked out. He'll never know where to find us.
Mom is going to be mad at us.
They lifted Jeffrey into a wheelbarrow that they had for the wild boar they were supposed to catch. They worked together to wheel him through the forest until they made it to a bush with 3 trees behind it. Abigail pushed one of the branches on one of the trees. The trees moved to the side and revealed a small cave that turned out to be a secret tunnel. It was lit up by tiny little torches. They walked along the dimly lit tunnel until they made it to the very last torch. Abigail pulled down on that torch. Suddenly, another secret door opened.
Ugh, where are we?
Jeffrey opened his eyes groggily to see the most splendid sight he had ever seen. It was a beautiful city built directly in the middle of the forest. There were rope bridges connecting different tree houses together, a windmill for energy, fountains, and beautiful structures and statues that would make the biggest kingdoms in the land jealous. In every structure, there were these yellow stones that gave the city a golden glow. Those amber stones were everywhere.
Oh my, this is Amberstone City.
Jeffrey picked up an amber stone lying on the ground. He knew that one of those stones was worth thousands of gold coins. Outside of the forest, amber stones were extremely rare. They could be used for energy, light, and much more powerful magical purposes. The people of Amberstone City were masters of the magic within those stones. Jeffrey couldn't believe he was in a hidden city filled with such splendor and magical power. Abigail, Martin, and Jeffrey walked to a wooden platform that was beside a tree. Abigail pushed a button on the platform. It slowly started to raise up. It stopped when it reached a treehouse that seemed like it was as big as a small castle, a mile high off the ground. As soon as they got off the platform, Abigail and Martin's mother stood there with her hands on her hips and a scowl on her face.
Where have you two been?
Sorry, Mom, but he needed our help.
He was lost and got stuck in our wild boar traps.
You two know you're not supposed to bring travelers here. All they do is bring us trouble.
Their mother inspected him like he was some suspicious evidence.
I've been outside of Amberstone City long enough to know that you are no traveler.
She circled him as she continued her inspection. Then quickly, she put her hand into his hidden pocket and pulled out a handful of amber stones.
He's a thief!
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Their mother went into his pocket again, and this time pulled out the king's necklace.
Hey, that one's mine.
Their mother turned her back to him so he couldn't grab it back as she inspected it. Her eyes widened as if she had seen a ghost when she realized what it was. The necklace was actually made out of dragon gems. These dragon gems happened to belong to King Ronald's dragon. Those dragons really hate it when their treasures are stolen from them or their master. They stop at nothing to get it back, and they always know exactly where to find it. Do you know what that means?
You have been here for only 2 seconds, and already you have brought an angry dragon here.
Suddenly, they heard the faint sound of dragon wings flapping and getting louder with every second. They all went outside to see what was happening. Other villagers started to come outside when the dragon wings sounded as loud as hurricane winds. The trees that covered the village parted. King Ronald, riding his growling and gnarling dragon, lowered into the city. He looked around the area until he saw Jeffrey.
There's some beef.
Jeffrey looked down at his hand and realized that somehow he had the necklace again. The dragon growled and started flying towards him. Then suddenly, the king stopped it.
Wait a minute.
The king looked around in amazement.
Is this what I think it is?
His eyes widened with every amberstone that he saw.
It is. This is Amberstone City. I've been looking for this city for years. Look at all those amberstones. Now I'll become the richest king in the land. But first, I have to get rid of all these trees. Dragon, let's burn the place to the ground.
The dragon spit its fire at the treehouse. Just before a flame hit the treehouse, the mother used the beam of light from her amberstone to block it. Her amber beam overpowered the dragon's flame and blinded the dragon for a moment. It wildly started spitting fire in all directions, but the blast from the impact sent everybody else sprawling to the ground. The necklace flew out of Jeffrey's hands and landed right in front of Abigail. The people of Amberstone City scrambled to block the flame to put out the fires with their amberstones.
We've got to get this necklace out of here.
Abigail looked at the necklace at her feet and picked it up.
I'll do it.
She raced to the balcony and whistled. Out of the trees flew her pet amber eagle. It was about as big as a pony, and its feathers were as yellow as the brightest of amberstones.
Abigail, don't go!
But Abigail didn't stop. She hopped on the eagle and raced towards the dragon to get its attention.
Hey, dragon, look what I have.
She dangled the necklace to make sure the dragon got a good look at it. As soon as he noticed, it angrily spit its fire at her. The amber eagle quickly dodged it. The eagle soared as fast as it could to the top of the trees. Just as the dragon was passing Abigail's treehouse again, Jeffrey dove off the balcony and tackled the king off the dragon. The dragon didn't even notice that his master had fallen off his back. He was too busy chasing Abigail on her eagle. She bursted out of the forest like a rocket ship. The dragon was in close pursuit. Her and the eagle dodged fire left and right as the dragon angrily spit it at them. Abigail realized she had to get rid of the dragon necklace as soon as possible, or she might not be able to dodge the next bit of flame that was sent her way. Then, she had an idea. She turned the eagle hard to the right. The dragon couldn't turn as quickly. She felt the wind from the dragon wings almost knock her off her eagle. She urged it on to go a bit faster. Then finally, at the edge of the forest, she saw it, the waterfall. She looked back to see that the dragon was gaining speed. She urged the eagle to go faster. She held the necklace in one hand. As soon as she cleared the forest and it was over the water, she dropped the necklace into the lake and quickly veered the eagle high to the sky, just barely missing another flame from the dragon. The dragon stopped when it realized that she didn't have the necklace anymore. It looked down to see the necklace quickly plummeting towards the lake. The dragon nosedived towards the waterfall after the falling necklace. As it was diving in midair, it clipped the edge of the waterfall, then tumbled the rest of the way into the lake. Abigail was so relieved, but she quickly realized that it would be a horrible idea to stick around to see what would happen to the dragon.
Let's get out of here.
When she made it back to Amberstone City, she could see the villagers had put out all the fires and were cleaning up the mess. As she flew over top of them, people cheered her return. She flew to the city center, where she saw a crowd of people gathered. In the middle of the crowd was the chief of Amberstone City. She had King Ronald and Jeffrey tied up right beside her. The crowd cheered when Abigail landed her eagle right in front of the chief.
Good work, Abigail. I'm so proud of you. Now, the final order of business is what do we do with our 2 unwanted guests?
You're not gonna hurt us, are you?
The people of Amberstone City are peaceful people. I am just going to shine this light from my Amberstone, which will put you to sleep. You will wake up somewhere in the forest. It will be up to you to find your way home. But we have given you food for your journey.
Don't worry, I'll find this place again and finally become the richest man of all the land.
Oh, no, you won't.
The chief pointed her Amberstone at them. A bright yellow beam of light splashed in their faces, and they never saw Amberstone City ever again.